Okay, I think we can start. Yes. So let's see here. And yeah, let's start my presentation. So thank you for joining us in these days. And my name is Felipe Pires, as Alena wrote in the chat. And I will present myself with some other informations. And thank you again for joining. Let me share my screen here with you. Once again, please. Yes, I will share my virtual machine here. And I don't have a PPT or PowerPoint here in this day. My idea is just to explain more things about this main topic. And the title of this presentation is how you can keep your coding safe during the development process using open source tools. And this is the idea during this time, during this conversation. Okay? And again, welcome aboard. And let me introduce myself. Again, I'm Felipe Pires. This is my web page, a simple web page with some information about me. I'm a principal security engineering and security research, security advocate, and security structures in different. I work in different companies, as Elena mentioned in the talk desk, and but I work in a Senha Segura. Senha Segura, it's a global company responsible to provide some PAN solutions. PAN is the acronym of the Privileged Access Management. I'm a security researcher in this specific company, and I'm advocate of this awesome project called Hacking is Not a Crime. The idea behind of this project is to talk more about the concept of the hacking, because we have this misconcept wrong, actually, when you read something in the newspaper or on TV, for example, when you see about some exposure of information, or maybe some theft of the intellectual property, or maybe some ransomware attack, is not a hacking. It's about the cyber criminal, right? So the idea behind of this project is to explain about this concept about the hacking. It's a life cycle and how you look into, or how you can use in your creative mind, right? So this is the idea. I'm a contributor of the Red Team Village in the US. This is a very nice community when we talk about the security stuff and, exchange knowledge. I'm a part of the coordinate team of the DEFCON groups here in São Paulo, and I'm a Brazilian. I'm talking from Brazil now in this day, and I've been participating in different events. And I lived in Poland in 2019. I live in Krakow, basically during 1 year, and I know pronounce some few words in Polish, and dobre and other simple words, but it's just enough. Nie mów po polsku, actually. And yes, and by the way, if you have some doubts or questions, you can write in the chat. I have here in my right side another monitor, and I can see Mitchell, for example, says hello from Krakow. Damn, yeah, it's really nice city. And my old address is Kuznetsk-Kontayolsk. Very difficult to pronounce this word, but I live there, by the way. And yes, welcome. This is some information about me. And during this presentation, before we start to explain about this open source tool, it's very important to understand the difference between about the SAST and DAST. This is two different approaches that you can use when you talk about the secure development, actually, right? And if you see, when you talk about some companies or organizations, when you have some software, first you have a code, and of course you have a pipeline. You need to implement that in different organizations, how you can implement the software development lifecycle. But nowadays, it's very important you put in the S in front of the SDLC. S, it means the secure software development lifecycle, right? And when you put in this S in the beginning of the SDLC, it's very important you apply the security stuff during this process, right? Of course, you need to have this more mature vision when you talk about the software development lifecycle, right? Using developers, using DevOps, and so on and so on. But how you can improve that, putting the secure, right? And one of these approaches you can use in the SAST and DAST. You have two different approaches in this case. Just simple definitions here, just to clarify and put all those people in the same page. So what is the difference between SAST and DAST? Of course, we have another difference approach using EAST using, for example, SCA or a RESP, but we don't have a time to explain all those details, right? So just to explain the difference between the SAST and DAST approach. So SAST, we have a white box security testing. So we have a code, and you need to perform something. You need to test this specifically code. You see the internal this code if this code maybe have some vulnerability. On the other hand, you have a black box security testing. Okay, you have published this code. You have an endpoint published after the commit. So you can run and scan after this commit even this specifically endpoint after the publication, okay? So when you talk about the SAST, requires the source code. Again, you have the source, but when you talk about the DAST, you requires the applications. This is another difference because again, you can have the binary or you have an application to execute something. This is the DAST approach. When you talk about the SAST, is another approach, okay? SAST is basically let's see here if you have this, is a statistical application security testing, the SAST. And when you talk about the DAST, in this case, is dynamic application security testing. So it's more deeply vision when you talk about the security inside of this SDLC, okay? Another point is finding vulnerabilities early in the SDLC. Remember the life cycle, okay? So the scan can be executed as soon as code is deemed feature completed, okay, or complete in this case. But in the DAST approach, just in the end of this process, after you have the cycle, and after that you can run that, okay? So the difference again, and it's less expensive to fix vulnerability because you can improve the code during the development process, okay? But in DAST, you need to fix the vulnerability. So it's more expensive because you already published the commit, you already have a publisher, you changing the code in the binary, has a binary, you changing application and coding applications or maybe in the binary and so on. So if you have some vulnerability more critical, you know, again, it's more expensive to treat that, okay? And another difference is you can't discover runtime and environment related to issues. You can discover it during the process. It's very simple, and that's you need to work after the finish of this process, okay? And yeah, just a simple definitions about this approach, okay? So let's see about how you can improve your development lifecycle using these tools. So I have here my GitHub, by the way, Philippe86. You can go to my repository here. Let me put it here, and you can click. You can use in here this orchestrates-demo. Okay, you can click here, and if you want to use all those vulnerable code here, you can use in here in the same page. After this presentation, you can use this. Okay, let's see if I have here some actions. I have here one specific. Let me delete here, and let's go here and click here and to delete this workflow, because I want to using this in my here or sec and this value process, this job, just to let me do. Okay, I know what I need to do. I will do this during this presentation. Okay, no worries. So first of all, let me write here in the chat in the browser orchestrates. And this is the open source tool that we will use in this presentation, right? So you can click here in orchestrates. And after that, take a look here. This is the tools responsible to keep your code safe during the development process. This is one of these tools. You can find these tools inside of the WASP, okay? And basically, what is Philippe, this orchestrates? Orchestrates is an open source framework that enhances the identifier of vulnerabilities in your project with just one command. This is here is the documentations. I will open here in another browser. But the idea behind of that is perform some statistical code analysis to identify security flows during this development process. This is a very important. So you can give the power to the developer, to the DevOps, to run this specifically scan in your source code. This is very nice. And here are some tools you can analyze, not just program language, as you can see here for C#, Java, Kotlin, Python, Ruby, and GoLang. And you can using some different tools like a Terraform or Kubernetes to see if you find some vulnerabilities inside of your code. This is very nice tools. You can use it to improve your, for example, your DevSecOps process. You're implementing this culture inside of your organizations, okay? And you can using these tools, for example, and do this specifically to actually to manage the vulnerabilities that you found inside your environment. You can, for example, find, let's suppose that you have, I don't know, 10 teams, 10 squads or 10 teams with the developers. Inside of this specific team, you have many developers. And when you have this kind of tools, you can run this statistical code, the statistical analysis code inside of your specific code. And you can receive this result. You can improve these teams to give the good training with the focus in the software development, okay? Excuse me, in the security software development. Because, for example, you can find here, for example, the team A, you find 10 vulnerabilities in specifically JavaScript language. So you can using this to improve or to give the specific training focus and secure development lifecycle, right? And this specific program language. Or maybe let's suppose you have another team, team B, and this team is responsible to write some codes in, for example, in GoLang. You can deliver some specific security training for this specific team. So that's very nice to use in this management, okay? So let's go to the overview of these specific tools once again. So basically, here you can see this is a open source tools. You have many engines inside of that you can manage. Here you can see the support a language and specifically tool, as I mentioned. So we can find here, for example, for Python, not only you have the idea behind of that using the engines from OpenSource, but you can use it, for example, the tools using the engine from Bandit, Save, SameGraph. Maybe you know this specific engine, or even you have here, take a look at the OWASP dependency check. If you see, this is the SCA, right? So you can run the specifically analysis in third-party library, right? So it's very, very nice approach that you have here. So in Ruby, for example, you have a brakeman, bundler audit, and again, we have here the OWASP dependency check. And Tree here, again, it's another engine, another possibility that you have inside of that. So it's more than one specific engine. It's, as you can see here, is a framework, a kind of framework, because you have a different engine to running inside of that. For example, if you see here in Kotlin, you have an OpenSource Kotlin engine, in specifically engine developed by this team, this OpenSource, right? So it's very, very nice. If you return here, not here, in the documentations, you have here the community. You can click here, open this specifically forum, right? It's forum.zoop.com.br. Okay, it's from Brazil, but you have here the English, right? You can click here in OpenSource, and you can put here your questions, right? And you have here the community working a lot to improve this specific tool. Zoop Innovation is a company responsible to maintaining this project, and the Zoop Innovation has a team responsible to work with the open source project, okay? And it's very, very nice. Okay, let me return here the OpenSource. So how you can use in the OpenSource, Felipe? I can use it in different ways, right? I can use it here in a CLI, and I will demonstrate now. And you can use it here in IDE using VS Code. You can use it in your pipeline. Okay, let's see here in the end if I have here some informations here, and yes. So here three types of the approach using this specific open source tool. First is a SAST. Remember about what is a SAST? Is a statistical code analysis. So you can run here in your source code, your byte or your binary to run this specific code. They have another type of an analysis, very, very nice. It's a leaks checks the source code for a possible leaks of credentials, right? And the same private key or hard-coded password, because sometimes the developer, forgot to putting some, clear texts or a hard-coded password inside of the code, so you can find that. And dependency analysis check, right? So where you can run, basically, or can using the OpenSource locally, as I mentioned, in a CLI, CI/CD pipeline, using this concept in CI/CD, and IDE extension. For now, just supported from VS Code, okay? Nice. So I talk a lot. Let me go to the show. Let me go to CLI here. I will click in CLI and installation here. Okay. So if you see here, I can use in 4 ways to install: local, manually, install via image Docker, and via pipeline. I'm using here in local installations, right? So I'm using here the Unix platform, Linux actually, and PowerOS. I just a simple curl here. I will copy this and I will pass here and I will execute this specifically code. So as you can see here, a simple download version, and after that I will move this specifically binary for a local USR slash local slash bin to using here the ORSEC. Okay, so let's see here once again, downloading ORSEC, installing the version. They probably will check the last version, the last binary here, and let's see here. Let's check just a second. Let's see if the internet it works, because I need to this. Okay, it's okay, and running this the last version, downloading the ORSEC here, the installations. You can install here in the Windows machine, as you can see here, using the curl. And here is the another version that you can use in here in different system operation. Using Mac, for example, you can use it. And if you'd like to install via binary, specifically binary, you can use in here. This is specifically executable, as you can see here. Okay. And this is the way that you can use in here. And the Docker image and another difference, and the pipeline I will use in here during this presentation, how you can use in this in my GitHub actions in this case. Okay, so let's see here what happened. Downloading ORSEC. Something it's happened now. Okay, so let's check here if I have here the ORSEC installed. Let's check here. Okay, /bash and latest version. So let me here open another virtual machine here. So probably I have some problem with this specific virtual machine. Let me open this another. Here we can put in the heads. I can see that in the real life. Let me open another virtual machine. Let's see here. It doesn't work. Why it didn't work? I think I have some problem with my virtual machine. No worries about that. Let me change my virtual machine here, and let's return here. Okay. Let me share again my screen. Okay. Okay. Now I have here my another virtual machine. You can see here. Let me return here the installations process. Let me return to the beginning. Here is the binary once again. Let me copy this again. I will change in the virtual machine, and I will pass here. And now let's see what happened now. If I have some problem with binary, and now it works. Let me put in here my password, and now it works. I'm sorry for that. I have a problem in my another virtual machine. Okay, and here, as you can see, the ORSEC is downloaded and moved for this specifically path, okay? And as you can see here is the version of this specifically project. So let's check here, and here is my specifically codes vulnerable, okay? So now I have here the ORSEC, okay? But we need to check what kind of flags or commands I can use. So as you can see here, this is the ORSEC CLI again. And I can use in 2 ways, flags and commands, basically. So I can, this is a simple example that I can use in here, as you can see. And I can use in what command I can use in, for example, a completion to see the out completion, script for essential shell to understand how I can manipulate this. To generate is to see the configurations of the ORSEC, help x-h, basically I used now. And the version, to see the version, and start to exactly start the CLI, okay? So I'm using the ORSEC start in this case. So ORSEC start, because I need to start in dash help, or I can using just simple H to see the others configurations or not configuration, other commands, right? So here is the example, as you can see, orsec start and set the specifically flags, right? I have here more than one flag, but I just to explain about some specifically. For example, I like this specifically here, -O, right? -O is specifically kind of output. I can generate that. For example, if you have some Sonar Cube to see about your code quality, for example, you can set this -O and you can deliver these specific informations to send to the Sonar Cube. You can integrate both tools, okay? You can have the Sonar Cube to looking more about your code quality, and you can have the orsec to see about the secure software, right? It's a different approach, more focused and secure, okay? Another very nice flag to set here, for example, is -A, in this case, is authorization string. If you'd like to send all those vulnerability found in this or finding this specifically code, you can send it to orsec manager, okay? So you need to set the -A and you need to define the token to accessing by API, okay? Nice. So let's see how I can execute this specifically. So let's see here, I have different code here in GoLang, Java, and Kotlin. Let me go to Java folder here, and I will execute the orsec now. Orsec is start, and I just click enter here. Take a look what happened. This is the specifically folder that I will executing this scanning, and this is specifically project, okay? Orsec, -tor, -demo, and orsec. So I just click in yes, and after that, I will be starting coding, starting analyzing, to looking more deeply about these specifically code, to looking more deeply about that, okay? So this is, during this scanning, let me return in here in my VS Code here. Let me delete this folder here, move to trash. Okay, I will need to integrate this now, okay? Let me open here my other specific terminator. Let me go to demo and orsec. Let me update this. Let's see here, okay. So once again, git commit -n -orsec, and the deletes. Yes, I made many things here, and let me go to git and push original master, because I need to delete my specifically brand that I have here in my GitHub. Yes, I will update this. So if I return here in my orsec here, in my folder once again, and my GitHub actions. So now I can delete this. So let's go to this workflow. The workflow file. Okay, I need to sign here. Yeah, because of that, I have this problem here. I need to sign here my it's in live, guys. You see, it's totally in live, this presentation. I don't like to use in the PPT because of that. It's more real life, because we work with this, you know. It's more, this is the day by day. Okay, so now I can delete the workflow. Okay, yes. So now I can delete the GitHub actions. Nice. So let me return here in my scan, not here, in this case here. Okay, so I finished this scan during these presentations. This is the scanning code. Remember, I executed this inside of the JavaScript folder. And let's see about the results. This is start analysis. Remember, I'm using my virtual machine, so I have a limited memory, and I'm using the same computer to streaming this presentation. So because of that, the scanning, it's more slowly, right? But when you have this in your production environment, it's totally different. It's 30 seconds, basically, the time to scanning the code. Here, as you can see, almost 2 minutes, because again, I'm running here inside of the virtual machine, and I'm executing the stream in the same time, okay? So this is the language. As you can see, the results, JavaScript, the severity is too high, as you can see. The specific lining and column where you can find in this vulnerability, the security tools using this scanning, remember, in this case is ORSEC engine. Remember, and we in different program languages, in different languages, we have, for example, a SandGraph. We can use, for example, a dependency checker to see, for example, about the libraries. So this is the security tools, exactly the security, the engine responsible to identify this vulnerability, right? This is the specific file that you can find in the vulnerability app.java. And this is the code vulnerable, as you can see here. And take a look at that, for example, if you are a developer or you don't know about how the security works or how you can, or here is the way that you can improve your acknowledgement and security, right? So this is the explanation about this specific vulnerability. And take a look at the CWE. This is the common weakness enumeration vulnerability. You can simple like this, you can copy this, or you can click, you can open this in another browser here. Let me pass here. Oh, it's the same, okay? So this is the information about this specific vulnerability. It uses use of insufficiently random value. This is the main vulnerability. And here is the search that you can improve your acknowledgement and security. You can, here is this, the descriptions, the standard descriptions, and here take a look at the relationships of this specific vulnerability. What kind of a parent of another parent of vulnerabilities linked to the same vulnerability, right? So this is the way that you can improve your security acknowledgement. So it's very, very nice. And because of that, it's very nice because you can gain the acknowledgement with, let me close this, in this security stuffs, okay? So this is the way you can use this in more than one project. You can run and you can receive here the results. And by the way, again, you have here the specifically file and the line and column. But if you are a developer and you work with, for example, VS Code, you just click here on an extension, you just set ORSEC here and take a look that you can see the specifically extension to use it in your VS Code, in your IDE, okay? So I can click here in ORSEC and I can executing this in my specifically vulnerable code. I have here more than one, GoLang, let's see here. And I just click here in ORSEC and I just can to execute this. I can click here in the play to start the ORSEC, and after that I can receive the result. But just I would like to show, because I already ran this, because probably we don't have a time to explain more details, but as you can see here is the line. Take a look at that line 2. If you put here your mouse here, you can see the informations about this specific vulnerability, right? So as I show in the CLI, take a look at that JavaScript, ORSEC, insecure random number, and here the explanation. Let's see here another JavaScript. And this is the another vulnerability, as you can see here. Take a look at that, the CVE 78. It's another vulnerability. So here you can improve with another vulnerability. You can improve your code here. It's another way, right? And for example, let's see here another code in GoLang, for example. You have here this specifically, as in this case, in use of weak cryptography primitive. Take a look at that. It's another information that you can change, how you can change this in your specific code, because I'm show you this specifically line that you can improve your code, right? So this is the way that you can keep your code safe, okay? And here is some warnings, or maybe that you can improve your code, and this is the way that you can use in this. Okay, so just to finish the presentations, I have here my GitHub actions, and I would like to show you in the way of using a pipeline. For example, you can use in here in a GitHub actions. You can use in, for example, the AWS code build. If you have, for example, Circle CI, or maybe if you're using Jenkins, for example, you can test in your Azure DevOps pipeline, or maybe in your GitHub CI/CD, right? So what are you using here? Let's see if we have a time to explain that. I will simple like this, copy this code. Let me return here in my VS Code, in our main code here. I need to create this. Let's check here. return here in a GitHub. I need to create this workflow file. I will call this worksec-eml. Okay, I just pass here, and I will create this specifically security pipeline. The idea here is, the idea behind of that is to create some gates in my CI/CD. For example, if I have some vulnerable code in my code, actually, I need to create this gate to block this or to receive some alert and to send to the developer to improve this code. Okay, so I create this specifically job here, and this is the execution, right? So I will run again the code, the command to start the binary in the environment, right? And after that, I will executing our sec start -p. This is the specifically path, right? So to running exactly in the directory, and I will set here another flag -e. In this case, it's true. Why is true? Because in this case, if I will receive some error, return dash. In this case, it's returning 1. So when I receive the returning 1, it means that I have my code with some vulnerability inside of this specific code, right? So if I have this, I can stop this run, and I will create this specifically gate with the pipeline here inside of this code. Okay, so I create this code here, and I create this this file here. So let me return here in my main page here. Let's see here, ls, and now I can commit that. So let's see if it happens, if it works actually. GitHub add commit, and I will set here our sec demo. It's a simple, and let's see my specifically create workflow here, my file. Okay, yes, and now I can push my original master. I have, in this case, it's master. Okay, I can create this, and let's see here the password. I set here my passphrase, my password, and now I'm commit this new GitHub action. So now I have this specifically actions here, and let's see what happened now. In this case, the code is, I have some problem here. Let's see what happened in this specific job. So I can click here in the job, failure stats, doesn't works. Why didn't work? Let's see here, invalidate work file on. I have some syntax problem here. So let's check here. The problem here is about the invalid work file error in this line. Okay, require when you commit author is enabled. Yeah, so the project is changed. So let's see here if I can take this specific line here. So let me pass here once again. Let's see. Okay, so I have this specifically changing here in my code. Let's go to the GitHub add. I need to delete this workflow here because I will have problem if I didn't delete. Delete here once again. Okay, so now I don't have any workflows here. Let's check the actions or workflows. Don't have any workflow here. Okay, and let's executing once again. GitHub commit. I will commit again. Okay, one file is changed. Okay, deleted. Let me push now the master and the password. Let's see if it works, because they changing the website. There's some comment here. Let's check here. Another problem here in another line. Let's check here the problem here in the file. Let's check here. It's another in the same line problem. Yeah. Let's check what happened here. Yeah, the team of responsible for this this project changing this specific workflow, and let's see here what happened now. I will change the last time. If it works, good. If that doesn't work, I will send I finished the presentations here. This is the last time that I will executing this. My idea is to show you this automatically process, but they changing the file. So let's see here if you receive the same error, and now it works. Okay, and yes, they changed this. Take a look at that. So now it's running. Take a look at that. So now the process it's running. Okay, because now I created this process. This is what I would like to show you. Okay, creating this specifically gate, right? So this is that line that I show you when I received the error probably is to improve the authorization process to using this in this GitHub Actions, right? And because again, the team changing this specific line, so I need to update that during this presentation. It's a real life, right? we need to pray to the Lord of demo now. So I'm executing here the push. Take a look at that. It's in progress status, and they will basically executing this job. Remember that I will install the binary, and after that I will executing this. So take a look at that. The process is completed. Take a look. The code is 1. It means what? Let's see more deeply about the result, right? So first of all, I set the job, as you can see here, right? So let me return here, and I will show you. Scanning process, as you can see here. So I start the job, create a virtual environment. After that, I executing this specifically command, remember that, to download the binary, remember that, when I executing this in the CLI, right? And after that, I executing the orchestrates start dash P to executing in this specifically path, and this specifically path, remember that, orchestrates dash demo, okay. And after that, they downloading, move the binary, and after that, starting the scanning code, right? And after some times, you can see here, the time, almost 30 seconds, you know, because they using the GitHub Actions to executing this, not my virtual machine, almost 30 seconds. And here, all those vulnerability found inside of this specifically project, okay? If you go to the end, take a look at that error. It's a process completed with error code 1 because we found many vulnerabilities inside of this specifically code. So this code is vulnerable. So this is the gate created by the DevSecOps team, for example. And I have here the problem here. And by the way, I receive here in my in my cell phone, for example, the error of the GitHub action, because I have here integrated with my email just to show you. Yeah, and yes, and then I finish here the presentation. So basically, you can using this in a different ways. Again, you can improve your code. You can using in different approach. Again, let's finish here my share screen. Okay, you can use in here again in your CLI. You can use in here your IDE. And you can use in this your pipeline, improve your knowledge. Remember that this is one of these tools, is an open source tools that you can use in your environment. You have more than one tools, of course. You can use an SonarQube to looking more about you have a simple version, not enterprise version, but to see more about code quality. But you probably have some limitations about the line of codes, and you can integrate that. To remember, we have a web console manager to receive all those results for our sec. And I invite you to improve this specifically too, because it's open source. These tools depend on the community and how the community can improve this, right? And now, I don't know if you have any questions. I finish here the presentations. Thank you so much for the organization of the event, for this opportunity. And again, if you have any question, please let me know. And thank you so much. Thank you, Marcin. Right, big thanks. Yeah, thank you so much for staying here with me during this conversation. And let's see here in the Q&A. I think we don't have any questions here in the Q&A bottom. And by the way, I forgot to tell you about the Q&A bottom, but we have a Q&A bottom here if you'd like to put in here in the chat. Let's see here. So I think we don't have any questions. And guys and ladies, thank you so much again. And if you have any question, I will write here. I post here my contact and social medias. If you'd like to send me a message, in my more private, I will write here my LinkedIn and my Twitter. And if you have any questions, so please let me know. And that's the idea during this conversation, to explain more about how important it is to talk about this cycle, right? So development life cycle and putting the security inside of this specifically process, okay? And this is very important. And again, thank you so much, and have an awesome event, right? So have a good day.